Welcome to Royal Secrets. Allison Langdon is left dumbfounded by Karl Stefanovic's harsh assessment of Meghan Markle's sobs during the Queen's funeral in one word. Following the Queen's burial on Monday, host of the Today Show Karl Stefanovic couldn't help but poke fun at his least favorite member of the royal family. He falsely claimed that Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, who was seen wiping away tears at the somber service, wasn't truly crying. With just that word apparently, Stefanovic made it obvious what he thought of Meghan's outward expression of emotion, and his co-anchor Allison Langdon took note. At around 9:20 p.m. local time, which is 6:20 a.m. on Tuesday in Eastern Australia, Stefanovic and Langdon were talking to royal photographer Chris Jackson outside Buckingham Palace. Stefanovic observed that it was difficult to tell whether some members of the royal family were sobbing in a number of funeral images. He said that images of Meghan blotting her eyes might be deceptive. There have been many images taken and interpreted, and people have read meanings into photos that may or may not be real, he claimed. There are a few of Meghan, with an apparent tear streaming down her face, the statement continued. There's also one of Princess Charlotte where everyone was speculating that she was crying, but we're not sure if that's true or not. With the use of the word apparently, Stefanovic cast doubt on Meghan's tearful display. Langdon nervously smiled before giving him a knowing look. Meghan sobbed as she saw the casket of Queen Elizabeth II being brought out of Westminster Abbey in London on Monday, following a stunning funeral attended by the world's elite. The Duchess of Sussex, 41, dabbed her face at the poignant moment as she stood next to Prince George and Princess Charlotte's mother, Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Camilla, Queen Consort. Earlier, Meghan entered the Abbey as part of a solemn procession that followed the Queen's casket. The two eldest Cambridge children, Catherine, along with Prince Edward and Sophie, Countess of Wessex, were standing in front of her. The Duchess witnessed Elizabeth II's coffin be placed on the altar before the service while standing momentarily by Kate, George, and Charlotte. After then, she and Harry sat down in the second row next to Princess Beatrice and her spouse Edoardo Mapelli-Mossi. Alongside Charles and Camilla in the front row were the Prince and Princess of Wales with George and Charlotte, Peter Phillips, Zara and Mike Tyndall, the Princess Royal and her husband Timothy Lawrence, Prince Andrew, Prince Edward, and Sophie Wessex. Later, the Princess of Wales led Meghan and Harry into their stall at St. George's Chapel in Windsor, while she, William, and Charlotte moved to the side. As Britain grieved the passing of its longest reigning monarch, and the royal family said farewell to a cherished mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother, the Queen made her final trip from Westminster Hall to the chapel where she was married and crowned. Her scepter, orb, and crown were placed on top of her coffin, which was placed next to the altar. King Charles III also selected flowers for her coffin from the gardens she adored. In love and loyal memory, read a card tucked among the floral arrangements on top of the casket. The Charles are, despite having a home in California, the Sussex family has remained in the UK since the Queen's passing on September 8. When the news was released, they just so happened to be in the nation for the Wellchild Awards. Archie, 3, and Lilibet, 15 months, who are thought to have stayed in California with Meghan Ragland's mother Doria Ragland, are absent from the couple's lives. The Duke of Sussex walked behind the Queen's coffin before the funeral, putting aside his spat with his brother Prince William. Harry was no longer a senior royal, thus he was donning a civilian clothing rather than a uniform. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who are unpopular figures in the Commonwealth due to their outspoken criticism of the royal family, are not supported by the hosts of Today. The two criticized Meghan for using a soundbite of Langdon speaking in 2018 during an episode of her Archetypes podcast, just one day before the Queen passed away earlier this month. In the podcast, the former actress from the United States cited Langdon's statement as evidence of sexism in the media, charging that publications had stated that she was fortunate Prince Harry had picked her to be his wife after they got engaged in 2017.